gather round, the curtains rising high. It's real talk time, and we'll tell you why. From old-time flicks to the silver screen, we've got the stories and the in-between. But out of real talk, it's the place to be.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy.
Do the same thing. Howdy, y'all. Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 10.
Episode 10.
And like we said, it was right around the corner.
It's like we never left.
Almost like we never left. But we here.
We here in the Shire for episode 10 of
Episode
Real Talk.
Maybe for this one the intro will be a Western theme.
Yeah. Cowboy hats, boots and stuff. Well, we're going to Nashville in July, so I'll bring some.
Go down to the honky tonk, and then when you're sitting in the honky tonk and you're reflecting on life, think, what could I picture Nason here? And if the answer is yes, you're exactly in line with what I had a guy say to me. He said, "You know, Nason, if you weren't a producer, you would be down in Nashville working as a singer, just scraping by in the honky tonks." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And he goes, "It's just your vibe." Okay.
I can see you with a cowboy hat boots on. I can see.
And then my little belt buckle.
Too. It's the right color.
Come on,
I can see
man.
that happening. Yeah, I don't think that's far off.
In another life, outside of the life where I have a boat and a bottle of rum to my name, only a boat and a bottle of rum to my name.
That's it. That's a third life.
No, that's my second life.
Oh, that's the second life.
Yeah,
so
I was
the third
in.
life is the honky tonk.
I was, maybe my second, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
I was in Aruba, and I was on a little sunset cruise on a catamaran, and I was standing on the point. I was standing right on the tip of the boat, and I was looking out to the ocean, and I had some rum punch in my hand that had been given to me by one of the crew members, and I looked off into the distance, and Jaden walked up to me and said, "Nason, are you okay?" And I said, "We'll go. You know, in another life, I would have liked to be a sailor. Nothing but a bottle of rum and a boat to my name." And he goes, "Okay." And then he walked away, and that was it.
He's like, well, at some point you might just have a boat and a bottle of rum anyway, so it's not going to really matter.
He literally went, okay. He turns around, he goes back, "You know, you can just do that in this life too." And I was like, "Yes, but it won't be the same."
It's not gonna be the same. I'll have also other expensive shit that I own. It's not as monumental.
It's not quite the same as like a small little catamaran as being on like a big yacht.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Not quite the same thing. But
no.
That's besides the point. We are not talking about fun things today. We're talking about Hollywood drama.
Drama. Bah, 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 bah. Like the big block letters. Drama alert.
We, for the first time in the episode's history, we're going out with a bang on episode 10.
Kablamo. Boom. Nuke sound.
We're planning on getting sued. We're doing this now.
Don't put us in the lawsuit. I'm okay.
Please don't put us in the lawsuit. Don't file a slap suit.
We'll hit you back.
We got people. We got people too.
You think 400 million's a lot? We'll hit you for 800 million. Our legal team's aligned with Ferrari, and you know how bad they are.
You'll never work in this town again.
Yeah, and don't even think about buying a Ferrari.
You can't anymore. We know those people. So yeah, we are talking today about I guess it's like a threesome of drama, let's call it. But
threesome of drama.
It's Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, which is the movie It Ends With Us. It's like essentially the whole drama surrounding the film and surrounding those two, but also now including like recent developments, which has been how Ryan Reynolds has been like all a part of this. And I mean, like, we can speculate based on the circumstances, and kind of the stuff that has happened and what I've read into. Nason's probably heard a bit about.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, even kind of before we get into like their drama and unpacking like the real story behind this of obviously like you're much more ingrained in the industry and stuff than I am. And I like to, I would have thought everything was like A-okay with like Ryan Reynolds as an actor and stuff in general. But if you like, because obviously they've done stuff in Toronto at some point. Have you heard murmurs of him and like some stuff, if you want to say it?
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. I haven't heard anything negative about Ryan Reynolds. No. Like little things like diva moments, but nothing to the point where you go, this is like a troublemaker talent. Now the big BL.
Oh,
I've
BL,
heard
BS. Yeah.
Miss Blake. I've heard that she is very specific to deal with. And I know that she's had a lot of people on the assistant directing teams that have worked with her and her own personal assistants.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of them have quit because she's been quite difficult to work with.
I've heard that as well. I've heard that she, and that's originally where I thought this was all rooted from, was like the smear campaign and stuff that came out of the whole situation of like nothing actually going on. But it runs deeper than that the whole time it was essentially orchestrated by Ryan based on the circumstances. And I think Ali actually had maybe the best take on this because Candace Owens did a really good piece on this week. She spoke with somebody on the like very credible source within the movie and spoke to them, gave her credible and like as reliable as it gets in terms of information, aside from like the text messages and stuff that have now been released as well, between Justin and Blake. And she was saying like, Ali's take, which again, I think is maybe like the best way to round this out, is Ryan's ego was so fractured by the fact that like, it seemed like Blake actually had a thing for Justin. Like that connection and stuff was very real. And if you saw some of the behind the scenes clips and stuff from them filming, she's like very flirty, like real flirty, not
staged.
Put on. Like you can tell his energy. And again, like Ali said, his energy is very like surface level in terms of like the energy that he's giving for the scene and the work that they're doing together. And obviously like there's some impact and stuff in terms of the story. But what came out of this film was like, it seems like she actually kind of had a crush on him. And then as a result, what we learned down into the storyline, and this is like very recent news that's come out, is there was a turning point after they were done filming Deadpool Wolverine that Ryan was on set every day watching over the production.
Really?
Every day watching over production. Oh yeah. So he came in one day, had read through the script on that day. So they were done. Like I said, they were done filming Deadpool Wolverine, obviously within the same area, so like they're kind of coming together.
Right.
They're done filming.
Yeah.
He comes on to set. He reads part of the script, is very upset about the script and what's going on in the film. And like, if you've seen it, you can understand why. Like it's very, like there's a lot of sexual tension and stuff in certain scenes. And like it does come, like they're having like, they're very passionate.
Right.
In a lot of the scenes and stuff.
Of course.
And like, he wasn't happy about it. So apparently they had a huge argument in their trailer. And so then every day moving forward until the end of production, he was there. And on top of that, like we were saying with the Hugh Jackman thing, he brought Hugh Jackman to the set too.
Oh, really?
It's just like essentially an intimidation factor. So like it made everybody extremely uncomfortable.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And like that interview that he did with, like that they both did with the other main actor.
Yeah.
It was like, it's when you listen to the context, that piece of context, and then watch that interview. Because I saw that when it first came out, and I was like, oh, it's just Ryan being Ryan. This is his, like, it's his humor, it's his satire. I get it.
Yeah.
But I hear that now and I go, oh, this is completely different.
Right.
The tone is completely changed as to where this is coming from. And it's too bad. And part of what we talked about, Alina, is like, obviously this isn't the first time that something has happened that has fractured their marriage in a certain way. Mm-hmm. Because there's no way that he's just acting out like this as if it's the first time. Because, like, if you truly trusted your partner, you wouldn't have that problem. You wouldn't be, like, that upset in this situation. And let's just be honest here. Justin is more attractive than Ryan is. And I believe a couple years younger. So, like, there's a bit of... There's a bit of on the table. Like,
yeah. And even thinking back on like this ongoing joke that between Ryan and Blake Lively, where Blake Lively's kind of dismissive of him.
Yeah, like that whole like, oh yeah, thanks, and like he's cut out of the picture.
Yeah.
That. It's like, that's a weird. It's
Right.
weird.
Right.
It's not like normal. Be
Well,
like,
yeah, you think it's like
that to Allie and be like, I'm cutting you out of half of the photo, like,
Right.
happy birthday, babe, and it's just a photo of me. It's like,
right.
It's so weird.
It's like there was these little things, and it was like in the beginning, I was like, oh, obviously this is just like their little relationship dynamic or whatever they put on that their PR team has concocted, whatever the case is. But now with all this more stuff coming out about it, there's obviously some level of control being exerted or some kind of demeaning aspect from that. And so now hearing even about Ryan's behavior on set, well, obviously there's some background and some history on where this is all stemming from, as is most cases with trauma.
So there's part of the drama closer to the end is the fact that like the production company, like Wayfarer Studios, is owned by Justin and by his associate. And so his associate, Jamie Heath, who's essentially for a long time wanted to bring like a beautiful piece of like feminist movement into a film. And It Ends With Us is like a great way to do that. It's got a beautiful story, and like part of the issue is that's now like he's now being blacklisted from the industry because of the whole like campaign and stuff that's been put out. Whether we want to believe it 100% or not, like it's a very touchy subject, especially when you're talking about like sexual assault in terms of like what happened. And at the end of the day, you do deep down want to like take her side if that is really the case. But you also hear like further information. You have to think about it critically and go, okay, like it's not that I fully disagree that this couldn't have happened. And it's like, at what degree are we speaking of? But also, who in the general sense here is at fault for the whole situation? Like, is any of this real? Like, you absolutely don't want to like dismiss the situation, because if it's real, it's like, of course, like, full support, like that's fine. But if it's not real, it's also like way more damning, because it's like, well, now it shows and exposes like who is pulling the strings within the whole film industry, right?
Yeah. Well, the influential ones, yeah.
Well, but the interesting thing that I also heard is the agency that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are under is the same agency that owns Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And they're good friends, obviously. Like Blake Lively and Taylor Swift are often, like, you see them hanging out together. Like, Blake was at the game this past weekend, for us, yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's just like, part of what happened in the recent developments and stuff was you don't want to mess with us because of who our good friend is as well. And like, that says everything. So obviously that agency is going to go, oh, no. It's okay. Yeah, we'll take it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll push we'll push out what you want us to do in order to handle this situation. So it's like not on you guys, and everybody like still loves this beautiful Hollywood couple. So like, that's a huge part of that development in the
politics.
story. So,
wow.
Yeah, like the whole situation and stuff kind of started, if we want to take it like timeline wise, so, which is now 2 years ago, so January 2023, casting for It Ends With Us is announced.
Yeah.
Blake Lively's cast as Lily Bloom, Baldoni stars as Raoul Kincaid, while directing through his company, again, Wayfarer Studios. They're thrilled and stuff at first, but obviously we know there's a ton of drama over what is now a very detailed timeline. And honestly, like, even when this episode goes out, there still could be more that like is uncovered in the next little bit too. So May 2023 to January 2024, also really quick turnaround time for this film. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Filming starts and then it gets halted due to the strikes and stuff that happened. Apparently there's some speculation that during the strike and stuff, like, there's other stuff that hasn't been released yet, but could have added more fuel to the fire in terms of the situation.
Yeah.
August 2024, the movie gets finished and released, becomes a box office hit. You have some big names and stuff in there, so like very recognizable people based on this, like the movie. It did $351 million in the box office.
Nice.
It's a very
Everybody was looking forward to it.
Successful film. Baldoni publicly praises Lively's contributions. So he's like, I would say he's oblivious to what's happening in terms of like what is going to happen, unless there was malintent and like malpractice and stuff on set. Whatever you want to say happened, if it did happen, if he was like, I had heard stories before of like him being very open about his like pornography usage and stuff. Like he was like talking about that. He was like overly sexual in terms of how he spoke about his personal life on set. Even people were kind of weirded up. Like, is that real now? Like, who is publishing these? That was before Christmas. I remember my mom telling me about it. I was like, you heard about this? So as we kind of get deeper into 2024 now, in August, kind of mid-August after the movie had come out, feud rumors start to surface. Baldoni, on August 13th, hired Johnny Depp's former PR firm amid allegations of fat shaming and inappropriate on-set behavior.
From him.
Yeah. Which, if you're going to get anybody, that's a good one. Lively faces backlash, which I had heard about this before I heard anything about Baldoni, was for the tone-deaf marketing strategies, including themed cocktails and hair care promotion. So, like, not really promoting what the message of the beautiful message of what could have been this very empowering film for women versus they were promoting a cocktail named after an abusive character.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, what are we doing? Like, that is the true definition of tone deaf.
That. Yeah.
Then we jump to December when this all really kicked off. So it was like crickets for a while. They get their box office payout. Everybody's happy for a bit. But in the depths, they're working on this like lawsuit. So Lively files a lawsuit alleging sexual harassment, toxic behavior, and a smear campaign orchestrated by Baldoni. So she was essentially saying that Baldoni was the one that kind of triggered the announcement of the like tone deaf marketing strategies.
Right.
So the claims included inappropriate on-set behavior and comments about her weight and personal life. Okay. Little, like, obviously the sexual harassment thing being the
big one.
the big one, but I don't, toxic is a gray area in terms of like what do you deem toxic. I don't know. The lawsuit detailed everything from Baldoni's alleged remarks to just creative disagreements. And apparently one of those that maybe was referred to in the kind of the sexual assault thing was he had pushed for more sex scenes, which I don't know if you heard about as well, but it was just kind of, again, murky waters of like what actually happened, right? In the span of like a month, it all got it popped off even further. So we have like essentially the escalation of the situation. Baldoni loses his agency representation and has an award for supporting women rescinded based on the circumstances. Colleen Hoover, Gwyneth Paltrow publicly support Lively. So now you've got like backing from like big people in the industry. And of course, people are going to like, if they like her, they work with her, like, again, as I said at the beginning, you're just going to believe her wholeheartedly because you want to. You don't want that to be the case, but you also want to believe her and go, we're so sorry that happened. Like, obviously, we'll get this guy out of here, kind of thing. After that, January 2nd, which was really only like 4 weeks ago, Baldoni files a $400 million counter lawsuit against Lively and Ryan Reynolds, claiming defamation and civil extortion. So the allegations include Reynolds aggressively berating Baldoni over on-set incidents, which is the whole like situation about him being there and being overbearing and like, again, just being insecure about the situation. Like, regardless of if the sexual assault, especially if the sexual assault didn't actually happen and it was just him and an ego trip that he couldn't take because he was so like worked up over the fact that his wife was like interested in somebody, even just a little bit. Because she also had, you gotta think, like, she has free reign to cheat on set, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, with like the amount of, like, they're not actually having sex, but there's a lot of sexual tension on set.
And the feelings develop. I mean, you're with this person for a good chunk of time and learning about them, so the intimacy develops naturally.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like, part of it, like people were saying, it kind of feels like the classic deny, attack, reverse victim offender kind of playbook in terms of that kind of way. So part of what just happened about a week ago was Baldoni releases behind the scenes video of Lively's dispute claims. And then Lively's PR team kind of said, hey, like the footage actually kind of corroborates her allegations. I don't really know what you're talking about. And so, I mean, at the end of it, I think we need to like essentially just wait till it goes to court, which is going to.
Everything's what is it? Like it's going to be like February.
It's very soon. Yeah.
February something.
It's in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of the whole issue with like the situation is that's the timeline as we have it right now. I'm sure there will be more, and there's like text messages that have been revealed and stuff as well. Like there is so much stuff going on. And I think regardless of how you want to look at it from a side or perspective, it's ruined the movie.
Yes,
it's
definitely
completely tarnished like what was, and as I said before to you, a very beautiful film. Like it had me tearing up at the end because I thought it was so moving and such a good piece, especially for like women's rights and being like a women's activist and understanding like the nature of how, I'm sure how many women go through like similar unfortunate experiences in terms of how they're treated so poorly by men, and like whether that be like mentally or physically. And it was kind of both in the film.
Yeah.
But it's ruining what was such a good piece, and it's too bad. I mean, it's tarnishing their careers. Like, it's people are going to be kind of, even if Baldoni comes out of this unscathed in terms of like the actual lawsuit and it's proven that like he was right.
It's kind of turning into the whole Johnny Depp.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's her name?
Amber Heard. Yeah.
Amber Heard.
But everybody loves Johnny because it's like it actually came out that she was like incredibly abusive towards him.
Yeah.
But I don't think that like Baldoni's going to get the same innocence praise.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's going to be, because right now where I'm seeing it is 1 week people are on one side, the next week people are on the other side. Every new tidbit of information is causing big swings, and I think it's going to get to the point where people are just fed up with it, and they're kind of like, I'm not worried about guessing what's going to be next or what the case is, and they're going to get bored of just hearing about it, and then that's going to turn into just general disdain for the case. And so even if Lively or just either one comes out on top, I think that there would just be a general disdain for those people within the court of public opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too bad because it was such a good film. I mean, I'm sure that the drama will be followed essentially the same way as like those court appearances were with like the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, but it's going to be hard for them to come back from this spotlight. And I think in the same way, people are now, like myself, based on the circumstances, like second guessing opinions of Ryan Reynolds' character even. Like, okay, you understand the situation, but like, did you essentially have to terrorize the set to prove a point that like you're top shit or whatever the point you were trying to get across, like with just berating people on set and berating Baldoni on set.
Yeah, and even further to that point, I'm always curious like what the actual behind the scenes is and the actual what actually happened, because I'm wondering if it's a case of Blake and Justin both had a thing for each other. Yeah. And as adults, whatever, that happens. But of course, they're, Blake's in a relationship with Ryan.
There's lines you don't cross. And
right.
Kids, and
And so I wonder if something did happen.
Yeah.
And maybe Justin was like whatever about it.
Yeah.
But Blake felt some kind of way about it because of her relationship.
Yeah.
And then she comes back and maybe she feels bad about it, so she confesses to Ryan about it. And then Ryan has a thing about it and goes, and then turns into this whole terrorizing because he feels how he feels about it. And I always wonder if this is where people like really, really take it to the next level, where it's like, it's not good enough to have it just happen and forget about it. It's like there has to be something to pay for it.
Absolutely.
So this is where we're gonna
file a lawsuit.
And get Justin just absolutely obliterated through the ground, and you're gonna do this, Blake, and you're gonna do that, or even on Blake's side, she felt bad about it, and this is her way of restoring her name of good faith, right?
And also like almost apologizing to Ryan.
Exactly.
It's like, don't worry, honey. Like we'll make this go away, and then we'll be all good again. Which is like even worse and even weirder. Like it's just There's too much toxicity when it comes to this, and again, I think it's really going to rock the industry for a little bit too. And I mean, we don't really know the full outcome of like what's going to happen with their whole situation. Are either of them going to come out on the other end like okay in the industry? Because like Blake's had a ton of Hollywood support as well. Like nobody's really taking Justin's side, aside from like kind of a bit of public opinion, really.
I think that both parties are just going to ultimately suffer.
Yeah.
Like I really don't see a world where they don't both suffer in their own ways.
Yeah.
Now, if something happens and it's outright one party's fault,
Yeah.
that's a different story. It's when it turns into this back and forth, one more piece of evidence. Like even people were talking about how Justin was so willing to give up his text messages.
Yeah.
And people were surprised by that because
Yeah.
it's like, why, if he knows he did something wrong.
He's like, I got nothing to hide. Let me show you.
So then people go, oh, maybe he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And maybe he's like, I don't, you know what? Yeah, me and Blake had a thing. This, whatever happened,
Yeah.
I don't mind if that gets out because I didn't do anything wrong as a person.
Yeah.
So now you get people who are confused by it and are like, well, why would, if he's if he abused her or sexually assaulted her and did all this kind of stuff, why is he so willing to give up evidence? So it turns into this giant thing, and I really think it's getting to the point where they're both going to suffer.
Yep.
And like just talking about it on the professional side, which, well, I guess it turns into everything, but if the public doesn't like you as a talent,
Yeah.
you're not going to get in films.
No.
You're not going to get
Because
hired.
it's not going to sell.
Or if you know that you're going to be drama, teams won't hire you.
Yeah.
Because they'll save themselves the struggle. They'll go, oh, we'll go with the next best thing. We'll take the easier person.
And especially like if you build off the fact that like this could now be Justin's reputation, this may be like a very bold statement, but there is not going to be a single female producer, production lead, nothing that is going to want to work with somebody like that.
Exactly.
And that's like, that makes sense.
Wow.
Like honestly, like that's a general comfortability level. If you're like unsure, you're already unsure, and you're already maybe a little bit uncomfortable in just like how the world is, and now you have somebody coming on set that's like, even if they're just accusations, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's
I
weird,
agree.
and it now like draws different level of attention to productions that you don't necessarily want it to.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah.
And regardless of the outcome, I think that like situations like this, essentially like end a person's career.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so he's, regardless of the outcome, even if it's proven that there was like no misconduct or sexual harassment, anything like that, it will still be tainted enough that it won't matter, unfortunately.
Right. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what the court rules, you still deal with opinions.
And there's always going to be people that like go, oh, well, I don't agree with like how the court system works anyway, so like why would I believe them? There's always going to be, I mean on either side, there's always going to be a naysayer on either side, but like especially when it comes to this kind of situation, it's just, unless it is truly black and white, like the Johnny Depp situation where you find out it was completely the other way around, then we have a case. Then we have like the court of public opinion was resoundingly all in his favor. Everybody was like pumped because they were like, she sucks. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy he won all that. And like now he's just a free man. Like everybody loves it. Everybody loves him even more now because of like how he testified.
Yeah.
They're like, this was fun. And your lawyer was a boss. Like she was awesome. I would love to see Justin hire her. Like that would be the craziest part.
That would be funny.
All of this is he hires her as his lawyer. I'd be like, this man's gonna win.
Oh, someone's gonna cook. Yeah.
Someone's gonna. She cooked on that case. She
Yeah,
did. She made me the bet like so captivating. I still see clips from that every now and then. That was 2.5 years ago.
That's wild.
Like that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was the summer. Yeah, that was summer of 2023. Yeah.
Wow.
Or
Yeah.
two and a bit years ago. Yeah. But it's crazy. Like, and we said it like 4 or 5 weeks ago when we were talking about films and stuff for best of 2024. I said like that film was moving, but now because of all the drama, it's getting shit on.
Yeah.
Like all the ratings and reviews are tanking even more now. And it's overshadowing the entire movie.
Well, and people are going back and watching it with a different context in mind now, so it's corrupting what they set out, the world they set out to create.
Absolutely, especially if you believe like wholeheartedly that like what happened and you believe Blake Lively. And you want to believe her, but also don't know based on the circumstances. And if you look at the movie like that, it's very disturbing.
Yeah.
And I can completely understand how people would see it that way. And it's not that I don't, you don't know. Like, again, you want to believe her, but there's also all this other information now that you do have to take into account. And at the end of the day, we can't say 100% until there's a verdict. And even then, we don't really know. Like, is it
really
jealousy? Did it all really happen? Was it all a smear campaign? Where are all these lawsuits coming from? Like, it's all over the place. So it is a crazy situation.
Yeah, it really is. Really is, and it's just intensifying even more.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's going to double down again?
Yeah.
Who's going
to say something else? Yeah.
Yeah, who's going to do the lower blow? Is there
more footage released? Is there more text messages we don't know about? Is Ryan going to come out with a statement? Like,
it's going to get nasty.
I think it's going to get very nasty in the next few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to like hearing more in depth in terms of like what we can expect of the lawsuit and countersuit and lawsuit, countersuit. Like, I'm sure it's going to go back and forth a few times, even after like the verdict and stuff.
Easily.
But we can only wait and find out.
That's all we can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other side of making films.
The drama,
the politics.
Absolute drama.
Oh my God. It's always so impressive to me what happens when you get two people to become different characters and put them together in a room and go be intimate.
Yeah.
And how that impacts people so
aggressively. Are you comfortable or are you extremely awkward? Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Or are you
and what comes
way
out
too
of it?
Comfortable? Especially doing it for so long. Like, you're not just shooting those scenes once.
No, you're shooting a couple times over a couple days, if not more, if not less, yeah.
You have to build the character bonding and the rapport with that person. Like, you just... It doesn't... You can't just switch it off. You're not... Like, these people aren't psychos.
No.
Like, it is... As much as people wouldn't want to admit it, it is real to some degree.
Yep.
And that's just life. That's just like...
It's how you ground yourself. Yeah, it's how you ground yourself in the character. If you can't ground it in real life scenarios, you'll never make a true, authentic character.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, nobody's I mean, I'm sure there are psychopaths out there who can just be like, I'm no longer that character anymore. But I feel like for the vast majority of people, vast majority of talent, I would think that these situations stay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if that person, even if Blake was in the scene and Justin usually isn't her type.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if because she's playing that character and the emotions are supposed to be authentic, that eventually, because you're in the practice of it,
you fall into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I guess we will wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have some like follow up with drama on this
100%.
in a little bit. Probably when you get back.
Yeah.
We'll have some more follow up to the whole situation.
To what is going on.
It's crazy. But yeah, I feel like that beautifully sums up kind of this
whole
short but sweet episode 10 drama episode.
Drama.
We're switching to a drama channel. Get ready.
Drama alert. Yeah. Boop, boop, boop.
Something also very funny to mention, like totally off subject. Most recent. Oh my God, blanking on his name. Most recent Sylvester Stallone film got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which one?
The one that just came out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It just came out. He's 78. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, he looks old. Yeah, it just came out like about a month ago.
Oh.
No, not even a month, like 3 weeks ago. Alarum, yeah.
I didn't even look into this at all.
With Scott Eastwood.
Oh, that's so funny. Really, guys? 0.
0.
Whoa.
0.
What's happening, Stallone?
It's not a 0 anymore, but it was for like a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
But it's really bad.
Oh,
1
wow.
out of 5 on IMDb. Actually, on Common Sense. 3 out of 10 on Screen Rat. 3.4 on IMDb. 46 on Google.
Wow.
Not even rated on Letterboxd. No, it's still a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics rating is still 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
What is it about?
What all those films are about.
Oh, okay.
It's a mix of, I bet it's a mix of, what's the other one Scott Eastwood's in that?
What, Expendables?
No, Scott Eastwood and Jason Statham. Fudge.
It's not Expendables?
No, it's not Expendables. It's, this is gonna kill me. Scott Eastwood. Wrath of a Man.
Oh, I enjoyed Wrath of Man.
I love Wrath of a Man.
But you're saying it's along the same vibes.
I'm thinking I just see guns on the poster.
Oh, right.
I'm assuming it is along the lines of like terrible Stallone and mediocre Scott Eastwood.
Cool.
Which I don't think Scott Eastwood's okay. It's
Yeah,
not great.
we like a
his
Scott
father.
Eastwood.
Yeah,
Was Scott Eastwood in The Last Ride?
The Longest Ride.
The Longest Ride.
That's a sappy movie.
Yeah, it was a sappy movie. Scott Eastwood, what a heartthrob.
He was in Fury. Eh?
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so terrible film. Whatever.
Hilarious.
So
Drama alert.
well, that beautifully sums up episode 10
Yeah.
of Real Talk Podcast with Sander.
And Nason.
And we will see you guys next time.
Yeah,
Thank
check
you.
you later.